Hey there, welcome back to my kitchen. If you're new around here, my name is Mel and I love to share cooking videos on this channel. These are things that I make every single day for my husband and myself. Today we're going to make some easy weeknight meals that don't take too long to make and are also pretty easy as well, so I hope you enjoy, but let's go ahead and get started and I will show you how to make them. First up today, we're making some beefy potato burritos. I went ahead and preheated my oven to 400 degrees and then over to my cutting board. I have 5 golden potatoes here. You're just going to cut these into little cubes that are bite-sized. You just want to make sure that you have 2 cups of potatoes in the end. I actually ended up having a little over 2 cups, but that is absolutely fine. And if you don't want to cut up potatoes, you don't feel like messing with it, you can also use some tater tots for this. Onto my baking sheet, I did add some avocado oil on there and then added my potatoes on. Over top of the potatoes, I'm going to add just a little bit more of the avocado oil, and then I'm going to start adding some seasonings on. I'm adding 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I'm going to get in here with my hand and just give this a really good mix together. It's the easiest way to do this to make sure everything is nicely covered with oil and seasoning. Those potatoes are going in the oven to bake for about 15 minutes to start. You'll pull them out, give them a mix around, and then let them bake for an additional 15 minutes until they are tender on the inside and crispy on the outside. Moving over to my stovetop, I have my cast iron skillet out. We're going to be using that today. I'm adding in 1 pound of ground beef along with half of a yellow onion that I did chop up. You will want to lightly season your hamburger with a little bit of salt and pepper. You don't need to go overboard, just a couple shakes of each for some flavor. Once the ground beef is done, you can go ahead and drain off any grease if needed. And about the same time, the potatoes should be done as well, so you can go ahead and add those potatoes into the ground beef and give them a good mix together. To begin building these burritos, you'll just want to have 1 big burrito sized tortilla, and then you're going to add in some of this queso quesadilla cheese, a scoop of the ground beef and potatoes, some sour cream, and a little bit of this creamy chipotle Taco Bell sauce, and then top it with some more of that cheese, and then you will just roll these up super tight. The only regret I have with this recipe is I wish I would have added more sour cream and more of the creamy chipotle sauce inside of these, otherwise they were perfect. Once you have those all rolled up, you can transfer them over into a hot skillet and you're just going to brown each side up for just a few minutes. I didn't serve these with anything. These were very filling all on their own, and like I said, I wish I would have added a little bit more sour cream and chipotle sauce in each one of these, so we actually ended up just dipping it on the side of the plate. And like I said earlier, if you don't want to mess around with cutting up potatoes, you can also use some tater tots. Next up, we're going to be making these spinach and feta turkey burgers. Into a nice large bowl, you're going to add 1 pound of ground turkey, 1/4 cup of Italian breadcrumbs, about 4 ounces of feta cheese, 1/2 cup of frozen thawed spinach, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce, and then about 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Now you can go ahead and just give these a really good mix together and separate them into 4 burgers. I just cooked these over in my cast iron in a little bit of avocado oil, and then I cooked them for about 4 minutes per side. Just make sure that they reach at least 165 degrees before removing them from the pan. For my burger, I added some mayonnaise, some cucumber, and red onion. This is what it looked like with all the toppings. And then I did make some potato wedges to go along on the side there. I will link this recipe down below for you. I used a little bit less meat than the recipe called for just because there's only 2 of us, but overall I really liked this one. And now we're going to make the Sheetpan Tortellini meal. This one is right up my alley. These are the kind of meals that I just love. We're going to go ahead and preheat the oven to 350 degrees to start. And then over here to my cutting board, I have about half a bag of Brussels sprouts. I want to say this was about half a pound. For these, you'll want to pull back the outer layers that are looking really rough and dirty and just kind of destroyed. I cut those off along with some of the stem at the bottom, and then I add those into my little strainer here. And then after I get these all cleaned up, we're going to go rinse them in the sink and then add them over onto our sheet pan. Pulling out my sheet pan here, I'm just adding a little bit of avocado oil on there. And then before adding the Brussels sprouts, I'm going to go ahead and take a package of this smoked turkey sausage. You can use any type of sausage or kielbasa that you enjoy. I like turkey, so that's what I'm using today. I am just going to split those down the middle and then slice them all into half moons and then add them over onto the sheet pan. With the Brussels sprouts, you'll go ahead and slice them all in half and then add them onto the sheet pan. Next, you will add about 20 ounces of frozen tortellini on there. You do not need to cook these prior. You can go ahead and add them on here frozen. And now I'm just going to go ahead and get this all mixed together, trying to make sure everything is coated in some of that oil. And now we are going to go ahead and season. I added about a half teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of onion powder and garlic powder, and about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Now go ahead and get back in there with your hand and just make sure everything is covered in the seasoning and avocado oil. If you need to, you can add a little bit more oil in there just to make sure everything is covered nicely. And then before sticking this in the oven, you'll just want to go through and try to turn over all of the Brussels sprouts onto their flat side. And then this can go in the oven to bake for right around 20 minutes until everything is browned and cooked all the way through. Over the top, you can sprinkle it with some cheese. You can use Parmesan, mozzarella, or cheddar, anything you really like. Today I used some Parmesan. One thing I want to mention about this recipe though, if you do not like that your tortellini gets a little crispy, then you may not enjoy this recipe that much. However, this is one of my favorite types of meals. I love baked tortellini. I love the texture of it. And then all together with the Brussels sprouts and the sausage, it comes together as a really nice meal. It's extremely easy to throw together, so I think you will really like it too. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I do hope you enjoyed and found something that looks good to you. If you don't mind, please leave me a flower down in the comments below to let me know that you made it all the way through this video, and I will see you back here on Wednesday for a new video. Bye!